Who is the strongest Space Marine to have ever lived? Of all the questions that echo through the cavernous halls of Warhammer 40,000 lore, few are as fiercely debated as the one I find myself pondering today. Who is the strongest Space Marine to have ever lived? It is a question that seems simple on its surface, yet the moment you begin to peel back the layers of history, myth and hyperbole, it reveals a profound complexity. Strongest is a deceptively fluid term in this grim dark future. Does it refer to sheer, unadulterated martial prowess in a dueling circle? Does it mean raw destructive power, capable of shattering armies? Or perhaps it speaks to an unyielding will, a spiritual fortitude that can withstand the greatest horrors the galaxy has to offer? In my years of studying the chronicles of the Imperium and its many foes, I have come to believe that no single answer will suffice. To truly tackle this question, we must set aside the demigod Primarchs, figures like the angelic Sanguinius or the ferocious Angron, who are at the class of being unto themselves, and focus on the Astartes they created. When we do, a pantheon of seemingly invincible warriors emerges from the shadows of history, each a legitimate claimant to the title. For me, any serious discussion must begin with the archetype, the purest distillation of martial skill in an Astartes form, Sigismund, the first captain of the Imperial Fists and the first Emperor's champion. Sigismund was not a psyker, nor was he blessed with ruinous powers. His strength was a product of absolute dedication, a singular focus on the art of the kill that bordered on the sublime. He saw battle not as a chaotic melee but as a series of interconnected personal duels. During the Great Crusade, his prowess was so legendary that even Primarchs acknowledged his supremacy. It was said that only Sanguinius or Angron could have bested him with certainty. Throughout the Horus Heresy, he was a whirlwind of righteous fury, his black sword accounting for countless traitor champions and heroes. His strength was not in brute force, but in perfect cold and calculated lethality that was, for a time, unmatched by any Astartes brethren. However, the very arc of Sigismund's story presents us with his most significant rival. In his final moments centuries after the heresy, Sigismund faced the one who would inherit the mantle of the Imperium's greatest threat, Abaddon the Despoiler. Here the definition of strongest begins to shift. Is Abaddon as a warrior superior to Sigismund? I would argue no. In their legendary duel, the ancient and dying Sigismund still managed to land a mortal blow on the War Master in his prime. Yet Abaddon survived and has since grown into a being of terrifying power. He is no longer just a Space Marine, he is the favoured champion of all four Chaos Gods, wielding artifacts of immense power like the Talon of Horus and the demon sword Drachnian. His strength is not merely his own, but is amplified by the very essence of the Warp. He has united the fractious traitor legions, orchestrated 13 Black Crusades, and succeeded where his own Primarch failed by shattering Cadia and tearing the galaxy in two. By this measure of sheer power and tangible, galaxy-altering impact, Abaddon stands as arguably the most powerful individual that has ever worn the ceramite of an Astartes. This brings us to another vector of strength entirely, psychic might. In this area, two names dominate the conversation. The first is the controversial and almost mythological figure of Kaldor Drago, the supreme Grandmaster of the Grey Knights. Drago's feats are the stuff of legend, pushing the boundaries of plausibility. He has carved his predecessor's name into the heart of a demon Primarch, wandered the realms of chaos alone for millennia, and laid waste to the personal guardians of the Chaos God Nurgle. His strength is one of absolute spiritual and psychic purity, an incorruptible anchor of the Emperor's light in the deepest darkness. He is less a warrior and more a force of nature, a living saint whose power defies conventional understanding. Yet for a more grounded and perhaps more compelling example of psychic supremacy, I often turn to Mephiston, the chief librarian of the Blood Angels. Known as the Lord of Death, Mephiston is unique for being the only Blood Angel knowingly to have conquered the Black Rage, the debilitating spiritual curse of his legion. In doing so, he did not emerge unscathed. He was reborn into a being of terrifying psychic potential. His command over the energies of the Warp is so profound that he can transmute his own physical form, turn enemies to ash with a glance, and unleash storms of blood-red energy. Mephiston's strength is born from suffering and control, a constant visceral struggle against his own inner darkness that's forged him into one of the most powerful psykers in the Imperium. Finally, I must propose a different kind of strength, one that is perhaps the most quintessentially Astartes of all, the strength of endurance. For this, there can be no better example than Commander Dante of the Blood Angels. At over 1,500 years old, Dante is one of the most ancient non-dreadnought space marines in existence. His life has been one of unending war, tragedy, and sacrifice. He has witnessed the slow decay of the Imperium, fought on 10,000 battlefields, and borne the crushing weight of leading one of the most tortured and noble chapters. His strength is not found in the number of champions he has slain or the psychic phenomena he can manifest. It is found in his will. It is the strength to get back up time and time again, to shoulder the responsibility of being the regent of the entire Imperium Nihilus, and to be the beacon of hope for 1 billion souls in the darkest half of the galaxy. In an age of despair, Dante's sheer stubborn refusal to fall is a form of power that can uphold a shattered Imperium together. So who is the strongest? As I reflect on these titans of the 41st millennium, the answer becomes a triptych. If we seek the greatest duelist, the purest expression of martial perfection, the title must belong to Sigismund. If our measure is a raw, overwhelming power and influence to shape the fate of the galaxy, none can currently challenge Abaddon the Despoiler. But if we define strength as the indomitable will to endure, to lead, and to inspire hope in the face of absolute oblivion, then my consideration must fall to Commander Dante. Each represents a different facet of what it means to be powerful in a universe defined by eternal war. The question itself forces us to look beyond simple combat and appreciate that in the grim darkness of the far future, true strength is as rare and as varied as hope itself. This archive has now been fully decoded. Continue your journey into the librarian with the video displayed on screen. The vast wealth of the archives continues to reveal new knowledge of the dark history of the 40K verse. In the grim dark of the far future, there is only war.